Hello, everyone. It is Friday, and I am dropping another episode of Staying Super with SimplySuperDave. I hope everybody had a great week, or at least the best they can make of it. Some weeks are better, some weeks are worse. That's just the way life works. Anyway, I'm here to keep you super in this vast, crazy world that we live in. But like everything I talk about, I always like to look at the flip side of things. So, it may be crazy, it may seem like it's out of control and the world is against you, but on that flip side, it's a very beautiful world, and it's amazing, and it's a work of art right before you. Have you ever just stared and looked at the clouds? It's quite amazing. It really is. So, folks, I was thinking today, I've gotten some comments about, see the podcast taking off and things like that. And let me be real here, okay? I know just posting the title to some of my podcast would scare people away. Words like racism. That's always a throw them down at the bottom of the feed kind of guy. Let's see here. What other words have I used? 9/11, Titanic, JFK. Those really kind of throw you into a weird group, I'm sure, when it comes to promoting any topic that involves those words in the description. What other? I can't think of it. Oh, the Epstein list, of course. That always throws me under. I do talk about political topics because I've kind of let those. I touch on them, but I realize if I've done an episode about them, then I shouldn't really go into it again. I'm not here to drive anything home, folks. I'm here just to make you think, and that's why I bring up controversial topics. So in a way, I'm kind of self-censoring myself based on how I know the atmosphere in the digital social media platform world that we live in. I come to the conclusion that I know that I'm not talking about things that's going to get me over very well. But the difference is, I like to talk about those topics because obviously those are popular main media push topics. So I like to attack them first. And what I mean by attack them is I like to discuss them realistically without all these goddamn, I did it again, forgive me. All the damn narratives that everybody pushes on everybody. And I just can't, I have issues with that. Look, I know the world we live in is vastly different from the world it was 100 years ago, and it was vastly different from 100 years before that, and so on and so forth. But those are nice little philosophical moments you can think about. In the moment that is existing around you 24 hours a day, whether you're asleep or awake, that is the moment that counts, okay? So you can have this perception of what's outside your bubble. And right now, my bubble is my vehicle right now because I'm out and about all the time. And I have these little moments where I want to park the vehicle and have a little talk with everybody. And so that's what we're doing right now. And we're talking about how, I self-censor myself based in the world I live in. But here's the thing that's made me think about that, is that I've seen videos, I've seen posts from various people, some closer to me, some I have no clue who they are, but the words they speak, echo in my very soul. I hear some truth and the admittance of being afraid to speak up, being afraid to be who they really are, trying to appease people by being a copy of the good guy that so many people try to be. I don't know if people notice it or not, but they personally go out with this, I look like a rock star, and they walk around for a night inebriated or in some sort of way, whether it be alcohol or smoke or whatever it is that they choose. Pills mostly people are addicted to pills and alcohol, both legal, by the way, because you have your drug dealer that your insurance company says you can go see. Every now and then you might need an actual doctor. And those are the times in your life where you have to realize, are you seeing a drug dealer or a doctor? Rarely in our lives, only in emergencies, do we really need a doctor. Personal checkups and stuff like that's what doctors do in their spare time when they're not saving people in emergencies. That's how I feel those doctors are. And then you got people who just examine you like a nurse, and then they can write you a prescription. There's a big difference there, and I think the medical field is filled with these. And I think doctors would agree with me, because real doctors that are out there, and there's a lot of those, okay? You got to understand, in this world that we live in, there's a lot of people that do everything, okay? It doesn't matter what it is, because we have that many fucking people on the planet. And it's going to get more and more, too, and because people are going to live longer and longer, and soon they'll all be digital one day. They'll hook up to their machines and just trade out and download into a new body and take that one over and all that neat stuff. Ooh, we're getting way deep into the future there. But look it up, nanoknives and, nanotechnology, what they're doing, trying to uplink right now, the things that they are. Look up Elon Musk and his ideas on that. And that'll be a fascinating topic for you to go into a rabbit hole of. So the Matrix could actually happen, if it ain't already happening. I mean, how would we really know, right? There you go. When the reality of that movie starts to happen in real life, that's something I never saw coming. I mean, that's a cool concept, but I didn't, think they would actually be working on that kind of stuff. But anyway, just think about that. You could live forever. Why would you? So you can continue to be could you imagine corporations having billions of consumers that they self-made? Ooh. Anyway, like I said, that's a whole different topic on its own. But I like to talk about interesting conversations pieces. And I believe those narratives, we talk about them because they're on TV so much. They're on your programming that you watch. That's an interesting word, programming. Because, they're telling you straight to your face, when you watch these stuff, we are programming you using this television. And it's a television. It tells a vision. It's a vision box that tells a story. And here's the narrative. This is the programming. Ingest it. Watch it enough, and you become it. And that's what I think we see a lot of in people, especially in the evening time, when people go out in public and they are themselves. Like, they dress how they want to dress or whatever. They're not in their work uniforms. We see a lot of people, and we know them in their work attire or their everyday look because they work for a living. But then you see them outside of that, and there's that vastly whoever they really are people. And if you know me, I am myself 24 hours a day. If you see me at night or in the morning or at my home, actually, you'll probably see me in the same attire, no matter what. A little tidbit there on the SimplySuperDave. But I like to talk about controversial topics because I don't think they're really that controversial. If something's been around since the beginning of time, or if it's been around for 50, 60 years, whatever you want to look at it as, if it's been decades, it's not controversial anymore. It's just something we continue to ignore, to discuss, or openly deal with. Started watching a documentary last night on the whatever her name is. I don't like saying her name, honestly. I don't think she deserves the recognition whatsoever. But anyway, it deals with the Epstein, Maxine, whatever her name is. And I just don't like her. And really watching that documentary, I don't like her even more. I can't stand the idea of things like sexual human trafficking and some of the things going on in the world that really sickens me, because there are so many people. Like I said, you can find people that can do anything. The doctors, like I said, we were talking about that. There are plenty of great doctors out there. I'm not knocking doctors, but a lot of doctors will tell you there's a lot of people that are qualified doctors that aren't really good doctors. And can we say doctor one more time? But you can do that with pretty much anything. You got plumbers, and you got plumbers who are really good plumbers. They got that D- average, but hey, they passed, right? That's with everything in life, folks. That's life. That's what it is. And we all bumble around each other and try to find the best in each of us. And things like racism, I brought that up a while ago, because, that is a controversial topic, because I can't believe we're still having the same fucking argument 30, 40 years later. I thought at the 90s we really broke through a barrier of working together and accepting who we were and having fun with it and really embracing it. And here we are 20 years later, insulting that very humor, love, and laughter that we used to combine ourselves, and anger and hate, because there was a lot of violence in the 90s as well. But that's what started bringing it to an end, because we started educating each other, openly, interracial relationships, everything that happens. In the 90s, music started crossing over even. It was beautiful, really. But there was a lot of anger, a lot of issues to be exploited and dealt with. And it's because it was combined feelings. It was from different viewpoints or different backgrounds, but it was the same problem. It's just how we were dealing with it was differently, or how we looked at it was differently, or the level of this threat was more to this race than it was to this race, but it was still happening. And at that time, a lot of people saw, like, wow, okay, we can all agree this is a big problem, we got to deal with it. But we're here overcorrecting too much, to the point where we're assaulting comedians on stage. If you go to a comedy show, or if you don't have a sense of humor about yourself, or you're too serious about yourself, I really think you should take some time to unconnect and sit around for 15 minutes or hug a tree or something, because you need some energy being injected into you. And yes, do hugging a tree, walking barefoot in the grass will give you an energy that you would have to just close your eyes for a solid minute and then ingest it and feel it. Trust me, it works. I know it sounds strange, but remember, everything is energy around you. You got to feed off of it. So these controversial topics don't scare me. And I know they push me way down on the list. And I know I'll never make it anywhere, or make any money, or be promoted, or any of that crap, really. I've accepted that. So when people ask me how the podcast is going, I say it's going great. I have very few listeners, but I love that. I really just feed off of it, really. I don't care that I don't have a lot of interaction yet. I feel like if it's going to happen, it'll happen on its own. And if people, that's the thing, seeing videos of people not being scared to speak out and be who they really want to be. I love hearing that. I look so forward to their content, because whether it's streaming, doing a podcast, or YouTube videos, or whatever you do, TikTok, I don't care. Instagram, I don't care. Facebook, I don't care. Twitter, I don't care. Whatever it is, your platform that you're expressing your viewpoint and how you feel about life. As long as you're not spreading hate and fear, and you're spreading some love and laughter, then I think you're on the right path. It doesn't matter what your topic is that you care a lot about. If you want questions answered, you want to know why the justice system in this country protect a list of people that have committed horrible crimes because the public can't handle it, I don't think that's a very controversial topic at all. I think it's kind of cut and dry. I think a lot of people have questioned it, but a lot of people that are important are ignoring it. I saw a young man speak up in Arkansas. This is on TikTok, I believe, that I saw. And it's a young man rips apart an evangelical town hall. And I don't think they needed to put the evangelical part in there because I didn't hear anything religiously toned in the speech. It was more of a political, so I think you got to ignore the religious tag for the video. But young man went up in front of a town hall, almost like Footloose. I'm serious, like Kevin Bacon moment here, and spoke to them for a minute, and then turned around and spoke to the town. Had someone tell him he needed to speak to them, try to tell him the rules. But one of the board members, one of the town hall guys, one of the good guys, told the other guy to shut up. It's his time. He can speak. And he let him speak. Now, considering what the young man was saying about the town hall men, you would think they wouldn't allow him to speak. But that's where freedom allows the conversation to happen. And it needed to be said what this young man said. And I'm not going to say it for him because I think you should look up the TikTok. But it's a young man tears apart, like I said, an evangelical town hall. And pretty good video, pretty good TikTok. If you want to see what young freedom... it made me really proud for that young man. I know he's going to get a lot of hell for it. But it needs to be said. He wasn't afraid to speak up and speak his mind. And he was right about censoring books and banning books from libraries. And I think he was upset because they were closing the library, basically. And so that was a big deal. And I think every community should have a library. What are you doing there, town hall? So anyway, good video. Definitely worth listening to. It's a young man. I think he's like 24. So we're talking like Kevin Bacon, seriously, and Footloose. Well, I don't know. That was high school, I think. Anyway, there's your movie reference from this podcast. If I can give you a movie reference every podcast, this one's going to be from 1984. It's called Footloose, Kevin Bacon, the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game. If you've never played it, you can connect any modern-day actor or actress back to Kevin Bacon in 6 movies or less. The winner would be, of course, who can do it in the least amount of movies. Anyway, Kevin Bacon is a phenomenal actor, and Footloose is definitely a great movie to watch. Another movie about censorship, even rock and roll music. Back in the 80s, you think censorship was a big deal now. Look back in the 80s and see what they had to fight for their right to party. I'm telling you, folks, the 80s was a classic generation of craziness. I'm glad I lived through it. The 90s brought a lot of unification, and I think we all thought we were, and I don't know if we just went mental. After that, it was the internet age, and we're going into 1 decade, 2 decade. We're almost midway through our 3rd decade of the internet age, and we are getting mental out there, folks. So hopefully, if you are one of the very few people that listen to the podcast, I hope I bring a little bright and joy to your world of gloom. To remember that even if you live in ignorance of the crazy world around you, God bless you. I wished I could. Sometimes I just get too pulled into things and I get too thoughtful, and it really affects my mood sometimes. So I try to stay on the positive note, and I've dealt with it most of my life. So I want to spread those thoughts. I'm not, like I said before 1,000 times, and then one more time for you, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to think. That's when I talk about racism, I'm not going, well, this is No. I just want you to think about it. Think about it, really. We're all people. We're different. Even the people of the same color are different from one another. It's vastly a generational thing, and we got to break that cycle of, I don't know, letting it divide us when it should be unifying every one of us together. I mean, if it wasn't for our differences, we would never learn from one another. And learning from one another is how we move forward. So when you think about all these important topics, are they topics that you really care about? Are there topics because they're constantly on their programming for you to watch? Just think about it, folks. Look at the real world around you. Look at that movie, because in that show, those episodes, what's today's episode at work going to be like? What's going to happen today? And how are you going to deal with it? Like I said, folks, all I'm trying to do is stay super, because I'm Simply Super Dave, and I got a reputation to uphold, right? No matter if my whole world is crumbling down around me, it's my attitude going through it that's going to make the difference. Either I can fall apart and drag it out, or I can just hold back the tears, bite down, smile, and keep swimming. Because if I do, I'll get through it quicker, and then I can rest, and I can wake up, and I can let the sunshine bask on my face as the clouds break away. And that is how my Friday morning has begun. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And you never know, if you do follow me on Twitch, yes, I am on Twitch. Got about 400 followers, so I'm really proud of them. I might do a little stream this weekend at some point, so keep an eye on those notifications. And if you want to follow me on Twitch, and that, by the way, streaming is interactive, so I have a chat, but the video game's not so important because I love interacting with my chat. I missed that doing the podcast, but we're going to have to do a live podcast at some point. I need to tackle that, but it's a very limited time, so I don't know what to really do. I don't know. We'll see. So stay tuned to me. Follow me on Twitter, SimplySuperDave, and you will be notified of all these things that I think about and what I might do or not do. So if you want to keep up with me and be more interactive with the podcast, give me some topics to talk about, for God's sakes. I would definitely love to talk about anything. It doesn't have to be controversial. It could be movie topics. What's your favorite movie? Whatever. I don't care. I'm telling you, folks, I am raw pirate radio, basically. And if you're tuning in, you're just listening to a guy's rambling thoughts. But what I'm really trying to do is just give you an idea of who you are. Are you who you are? Are you the program version they want you to be? Think about it. And while you're doing it and having conversations with people and being more interactive or trying to be whoever you want to be, just remember to do it with some love and laughter. Because that's the only thing that conquers the hate and fear out there. You can't beat hate and fear with more hate and fear. You just make more hate and fear. Love and laughter is the opposite. Equal reaction. Be a conqueror, not a victim, and enjoy your weekend.